Welcome back to the Plug In for More podcast. Once again, we are Bryantless. We've been trying to get him to come back to our show, but he's on vacation. I'm not sure where he is this time. Some fancy car show in California.
I think so. Yeah, it's non-EV related, so he's dead to me at the moment.
Hmm.
Um, he's just again away gallivanting across the globe.
It's a tough life, but I'm glad that someone gets to do it.
Yeah,
Just not you or me.
no.
Welcome to Plug In for More, brought to you by evuniverse.com. EV Universe is your one-stop shop for all things related to the electric vehicle. Here on this podcast, our goal is to educate, inspire, and hopefully make your transition into the electric vehicle marketplace a lot less intimidating. And now, here are your hosts, Mike, Tom, and Bryant.
So enough with him. We don't need to talk about Brian any longer. I'm just trying to figure out what he looks like.
Well, I've understanding that you've become something of a local celebrity in the greater Raleigh area.
Yeah, Cybertruck. I'm not a celebrity. Let's put it that way. The truck is, and so I get this question a lot. Is what's it like to own a Cybertruck? Do you like it? Give me some information. That happens every single day. People ask me, "What's it like? What do you think?" Number one is if you're an introvert, do not buy that truck. Do not buy it. If you don't like talking to people, forget it. Just unless you're going to just keep it in your garage and no one knows you have it and you just want to look at it, don't buy that truck. Or the other option is maybe wrap it hot pink because that'll maybe decrease the attention a little bit. I mean, it's insane. It really is. I've never. I mean, I've had some. I would say some different vehicles that would create some attention. I think early on in the podcast days we talked about my Ford GT that I had. The Tesla Roadster. Those things are don't even no one blinks an eye at those compared to the Cybertruck. I
Right.
can't go anywhere without someone filming me, asking questions, pounding on the side of the truck, surrounding the vehicle while I go into the grocery store. I mean, it's insanity with this thing. That's all I really have to say. I mean, we can dive into the specifics about the truck, but it's
Right.
crazy owning it. So, besides owning the Cybertruck, there is some more EV trucks coming out. And I know we've talked before about the Silverado work truck that's been out with about 440 miles of range. The RST version looks like just about out as well. There's been a number of videos coming out and some long road tests on it. So basically, the premium version of the work truck, and that thing is getting it's rated at 440 miles of range.
Wow.
Some testers are getting 460 out of this thing, including
Hmm.
mixed driving. So that's incredible. It's got a massive battery. The charging curve is fantastic as well. So it's charging way you're getting a lot more mileage, a lot quicker than you are with other ones. Again, a lot of that has to do with the size of the battery and the capabilities, but it's if you're going to be towing, I think right now that's your best option by far if you can get your hands on one.
Very cool. And that 800-volt architecture obviously lends itself to that fast charging curve. And is it the same 212 kilowatt hour battery that's in the Hummer EV? Is that what they've put in that?
Yeah, it's over 200. It's over 200 kilowatts. I would assume it's the same battery pack.
I still have a reservation for the Silverado EV, even though I declined my reservation for the Denali.
I think when you look at the two, obviously there's cosmetic differences between the two of them, but for me the biggest difference is if you look at the bed of the Denali, it's a more of a traditional truck bed, where on the Silverado it has the avalanche type
Hmm.
uh, side rails, and that makes a big difference if you're going to put a topper on the back of your truck or just even loading things into the back of it. I think the Silverado is kind of the one I would gravitate originally towards just on the looks, but when you factor in the bed and some of the premium features on the Denali, I don't know, that one's pretty enticing too. But both of them are $100,000 for that first edition, so they're not inexpensive by any means.
Yeah, it's. That's a life choice, not just a car.
No, no. Um, but I will say that the midgate folding down the way it does, if you're looking at, throwing canoes or kayaks in the back or some, longer lumber, that's a pretty
Right.
useful tool. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yep. And that was something that the Avalanche had years ago, which obviously the Avalanche and the Silverado EV are they're I see them very akin to each other, and I think that's a really cool feature. And I liked it then, and obviously GM did away with that design for a few years, but glad to see it came back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they've got a winner on their hands with this thing. As long as they can, ensure the glitches are out, especially on the electrical system, if everything is working
Yeah.
the way it should. I mean, it's got four-wheel steering. It has the adaptive suspension as well, so the ride height can change. Um, I mean, it's going to have tight turning radius, all that kind of stuff that goes with it. And it's more traditional. The frunk is huge on those things, and a folding midgate. I mean, in a massive battery pack and the best charging curve for a similar price as the Foundation Series Cybertruck.
And far less hideous.
Hey, now
Uh,
that
um,
hurts. That hurts my Tesla fanboy side of me, and not all of me is a Tesla fanboy. But yeah, it still hurts. Still shed a little tear.
You're listening to the Plug In for More podcast. If you're looking for information on electric vehicles components, or information on how to reduce your carbon footprint, look no further than evuniverse.com. evuniverse.com is your one-stop shop for all things related to electric.
Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston are springing up cash. Just sell us your gently used warm weather styles like tees, shorts, sandals, and more. We're paying cash on the spot for gently used spring styles for guys and girls. Support sustainable fashion. This spring, do your thing and recycle the spring-inspired clothes, shoes, and accessories that are just hanging in your closet for cash on the spot. Let your spring clothes bloom into cash at Plato's Closet. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
Vehicle.
so today our podcast guest is Chris Maiwald. He is the CEO of Electron. Electron obviously is a name that we have heard a lot in the home charging level 2, level 1 charging networks, as well as the adapters. Now, from the time that we recorded our interview till now, there's been an issue that's popped up with the Vortex adapter, and we just want to be fully transparent in our conversation with Electron and this issue that obviously we weren't able to address during our interview. Mike?
Yeah. So, long story short, we had gotten one of the first Vortex adapters. We ended up testing it along with some other adapters at a local Tesla supercharger on my Rivian, and there was a safety issue that was found. And so contacted Chris along with the YouTuber who did the video, and Electron has really stood behind their product in coming forward and say they're going to fix it, and did so in a very expedient manner, and they're going to make things right. So if you have one of those adapters that maybe doesn't connect the way that it should, be sure to reach out to Electron. Otherwise, it seems like their production is ramping up as it should.
Chris, we want to welcome you to the Plug In for More podcast. We'd love it if you'd be able to give us a little bit about your background and the company and what it is you're doing.
Sure. Lectron is part of a bigger consumer technology company that I started around a little more than 10 years ago now. The first part of the business was in the smart home space, and Lectron as a brand has been around since 2017. What we saw in 2017 is that nobody was focusing in the EV charging category, nobody was focusing on direct to consumer well, and nobody was focusing on big box retail well. So we set out initially to build a brand that provides best in class value to customers, addresses the fragmentation issue in US EV charging, the different charging standards and between NEX, CCS, J1772, and at that time Chatmere, and just build a consumer technology brand in the space when back in 2017 everybody was just focused on OEM business, and that's what we set out to do. And given where our products are, they're extremely successful on Amazon. They're in in-store programs at Best Buy, Home Depot, Lowe's, and a few Walmarts as well. I think we've done reasonably well at our initial mission.
From your background, what made you get into EV charging? Is it just a hole in the market that you saw? Or are you big EV fan, or what's kind of your background that made you want to go down this road? Because obviously, creating your own company is not an easy thing, and with something an endeavor of that sort, what fed your passion to do this?
Yeah. Uh, I used to do investment banking in London before I came to Asia to manufacture consumer technology products. So in terms of background, there was really nothing that uh, predestined me for this particular role. I was working in finance, and our first product line in the smart home space came out of a need that I wanted products for a certain camera that I was using, and started the company here in Asia. And in the wake of scaling that company, we became good at a couple of things. We became very good at engineering products in Asia at a really thoughtful price point that vibed well with the Amazon algorithm. And that in turn translated really well to consumer products that would do well in big box retail. So after we launched our first product line on Amazon, we, after a couple of years, were able to get a vendor number with Best Buy. Then in turn, we got a vendor number with Home Depot and other leading retailers because we made stuff that was at a really compelling price point versus their features. And so as an organization, we learned how to build really good stuff that people want, and we were able to build a distribution network in North America to help us distribute those products. And from there, it was um, an analysis of identifying small markets that grow very, very quickly that align with our organizational strengths. So back then, we were very good at selling stuff into on Amazon and big box retail, and we wanted to operate in a market that could become very, very large and that was growing very quickly. And we looked at EV charging. We saw a lot of downstream synergies with our existing business on the retail and marketing side, and obviously then set out to hire an entirely new and very competent engineering team um, that help us, that now consists of former Tesla people, former Geely Automotive people, former Foxconn people that are helping us build best in class products and distribute them through our network.
Makes sense. So, one of the things that comes up with EV charging that we hear a lot, people have questions about their cars is, what adapters do they need to use? But then the next biggest question is, what about the safety of these things? And, there's been a bunch of people on X and Facebook that will bring up off-brand chargers, especially as the NACs and the supercharger adapters are coming out for the Ford and Rivians and obviously the other OEMs shortly. Um, when I look at that, I mean, you guys have been a known brand for a long time. There's some other newer brands that are coming out. There's some ones that are, um, frankly, on Amazon, but we don't know necessarily where they're coming from. Can you talk about what you guys go through from a uh, not even compliance standpoint, but also just a safety standpoint to make sure that these chargers are not going to cause problems with these vehicles and are safe to use versus some of these other ones in the aftermarket are big question marks.
Yeah. So we go through testing with nationally certified labs. Those labs could be UL or ETL or SGS, but other nationally recognized labs. And then we test according to standards that are largely set by UL. Until a couple of months ago, all of our adapters were tested according to UL 2251. Recently, UL, recognizing the need and the importance of adapters going forward, published a dedicated standard specifically for adapters called UL 2252. And after that was the draft was released, we reviewed it and we started testing our adapters according to UL 2252 and are continuously working with nationally recognized labs to ensure safety. You're right
Fantastic.
that there are a ton of uncertified adapters on Amazon. That's the nature of Amazon. I know for a fact that there is the Society of Automotive Engineers is working on introducing legislation to ensure that aftermarket products, when they're listed on Amazon or bigger retailers, have to have a minimum amount of certification. Regulations move slowly, so it's hard for me to say whether this will come into effect in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, or even longer than that. But we've seen this movie before with, for example, jump starters. If you now want to sell a jump starter on Amazon, you need to have a UL certificate, and the same is going to happen in the EV charging category for chargers, adapters, and charging stations. It's just a matter of time.
When we're looking at, what has changed with, Camdio moving away and Nax taking over, and this already in a short period of time, a lot changes in the industry, especially with your products and the all the different ones that you manufacture. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, what are you placing bets on for the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years? Is it inductive charging? Where are you seeing the industry go for aftermarket charging in the EV space?
Yeah, on the inductive charging side, I'm a little hesitant to embrace that, largely because of the energy loss you experience during inductive charging. The fact that the problem that inductive charging is solving is not a huge one. I mean, plugging in your charging coupler is not, it's not the end of the world. The increased infrastructure cost, everybody's already complaining about how difficult it is to implement normal EV charging infrastructure. And now you have to implement another layer of infrastructure on top of that. Both on the vehicle side, you need an inductive charging coil on the vehicle side and on the infrastructure side. So given all of these things together, I have a hard time seeing which car manufacturer would deliberately push up the bill of materials of their own vehicles to put an inductive charging coil in there, become less price competitive for a standard that doesn't exist, for a problem that isn't a huge one. Um,
Yeah.
so I am biased, but I'm somewhat skeptical about this. I see the argument that for fully autonomous driving, this may very well make sense, but how many years we're away from that? Um, I can't, this is above my pay grade. I can't speak to that. Generally speaking, what holds true for us is that customers will always want better products at lower prices. And this largely informs our product roadmap. So that's the one thing I can predict is nobody's going to call us in 5 years and says, Electron, I wish your chargers cost $300 more. No, they're always going to be like, we want better stuff, safer stuff, and at more competitive prices. And that's how we think about our product roadmap going forward.
Like we've hit on a little bit prior, Chris, we've talked about how our podcast, we were really trying to tailor towards that new EV buyer, the person maybe just got their EV, maybe they're going to get it in 6 months, and they're trying to work through all the things that they need. With the products that Electron offers, what sort of items is that new EV owner going to be able to get from Electron to help make that transition easier for them?
In our view, in order to have a seamless EV charging experience, we recommend that customers order three product categories. Number one is a powerful in-home charging solution. So there I would refer you to our 48 amp V-Box, 11.5 kilowatt, which provides more than enough power for for overnight charging, given that most people's commute or daily commute is no more than 50, 80 miles. That's plenty of juice. So that's the first part of the equation. The second part of the equation would be a versatile portable charging solution that customers can keep on their vehicle. This could be a level one or a dual level one and level two portable charger that they can keep on their car uh, while traveling. And the third component of that equation are adapters. So there's obviously the dichotomy of charging standards between Tesla and non-Tesla, and then between AC and DC. In this case, we recommend that customers buy at least 1 or 2 adapters to ensure that their vehicles are compatible with other charging standards. So, for example, if you're a Tesla owner, you probably want to have a CCS to NACS and J1772 to NACS adapter to make sure that you can take advantage of the expansive J1772 and CCS infrastructure in the US. If you're a non-Tesla owner, at least as of now, we recommend that you get our best-selling Tesla to J1772 and our newly launched Tesla to CCS1 adapter. These little adapters are essentially a small insurance policy, a small price to pay to have the ability to charge wherever you are, regardless of the infrastructure nearby.
I know personally because I've got a Ford Mach-E and I'm waiting on Ford to get me the adapter. I know Mike's waiting on his Rivian one as well. How quickly would people expect to be able to see the CCS to NACS adapter coming from Electron?
It's currently shipping. So it's
Perfect.
currently being shipped. We're working through the back orders. We're ramping up production. And I think we're going to have worked through the back orders in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And then waiting times will be, like any other product that ships from us, and will generally leave the warehouse within 3 to 5 days.
Chris, it's been great talking with you, and we're really excited to see the good things that are be coming from Electron here into the future and getting our hands on that the NACS adapter. And we appreciate your time.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you for listening to Plug In for More. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, check out the one-stop EV marketplace, evuniverse.com. Until next time.